Welcome back, the Fourth Down Football Show, episode 18, and we got two playoff teams and one non-playoff team in today's podcast episode. I know I'm gonna get crapped on later, Kyle, so I got to take my shots right now.
That's
But
okay.
how are we doing, boys?
I mean, I'm doing fantastic. Packers, your seventh seed in the NFC.
Pack is back.
After Pack is back, we never left. No, we had one bad year, but we weren't losing to no stinking Bears on Sunday. I can tell you that. Never for a second did I think we're gonna lose to this shitty Bears team. But hey, 9-8, Packers in the playoffs. But according to Matt, I'm still delusional.
Yes, Kyle, you won your Super Bowl Sunday though.
Damn right we did.
Oh,
Damn right we did. Listen, I will take my sixth pick instead of a fifth pick if that means beating up on the Eagles. That's fine with me.
Yeah, it probably did cost you a slot down, moving a slot down in the draft. But yeah, that was an ugly loss for the Eagles, and hopefully we're not going to talk about that one too much. We're going to move on to the playoffs, where I don't feel any more optimistic about anyway. So we'll get into that in a second. But of course, we had the national championship take place last night, and surprised to not me at least, Michigan won, and it ended up being handily because of some garbage time touchdowns, or at least some extra padding at the end there, touchdowns. When it was a 7-point game, a one possession game at the beginning of the fourth quarter, I believe, Washington drew back within seven. 13-20, I think, was the score at the beginning of the fourth quarter. But in my mind, I would have placed $100 bet that Michigan was going to win. I felt pretty confident in that. Washington has a dynamic offense, but I feel like their high flying offense, their flashy offense, is just not going to stand up against this high powered Michigan defense. This more of a tough ground and pound game, especially for Michigan on offense. Washington's defense was not going to be able to withstand that two-headed monster, Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards there in the backfield. So didn't come any surprise to me. Melo, I know you were tuned into it the best you could. What were you thinking?
I really didn't care who won. I still thought Michigan was gonna win because I thought they were the better team, but I like Washington, even though I mean, not anymore. Well, we do technically. We share a conference with them in the Pac-12 and now going to the Big Ten. But I like Michael Penix. He's a good dude, and that was probably not the best thing you want to show to the country. Who, I mean, listen, I guarantee you, more than half the country, these were the first two Washington games, the semifinal game and the national title game. Those were the two games that the country was even watching this Washington team. So there was so much hype surrounding Michael Penix. People said that maybe he should have been the Heisman winner, and then he comes out in the national title game and lays it dud. Um, Michigan's just the better team, and I know seems like everybody and their mother didn't want the Michigan to win this whole thing, but they have been knocking on the door for the last 3-4 years. They were gonna win it eventually. You get into these situations so many times. Eventually, you're gonna come out on top. Eventually, I hope. And this has been like a 7-8 year window to get to yesterday because remember, not too long ago, this Michigan team was not good, and there was questions surrounding Jim Harbaugh saying that, hey, are we sure that he's the dude? He is the Michigan man, and this is his alma mater, but he's not getting it done. He can't beat Ohio State, but he can beat everybody else. And then eventually, 2021 finally beats Ohio State, gets to the playoff, first step, and now they were able to cap it off with a championship last night. Good for Michigan. Good for them. Uh, JJ McCarthy, nothing special. I felt that when I left the Rose Bowl game last week, and I feel the same way that I did watching yesterday. Nothing special. But he just made the right plays and he made the right passes. That's all you can ask out of him. But Good for Michigan. They were clearly the better team. And did they play around with their food a little bit? Yes. But they did what they were supposed to do, and they put Washington away late. Good for Michigan.
Yeah. Two more thoughts on this for me. It'd be interesting to see Jim Harbaugh's decision. Is he going to stick around in Michigan there? Or the NFL is calling. That's the rumors. There's going to
Chargers,
be that's one of the hottest ones. Chargers and Raiders seem
Raiders.
to have not learned their lesson about spending a lot of money on a head coach because they've done it 2 times in a row now, and it hasn't panned out either time for them. But yes, NFL is calling. Lots of job openings have sprung up, and we'll get to that later in this episode too. But NFL is calling. Does Jim Harbaugh want to stick around? Is he going to add to his Michigan legacy now, coming off of a national championship, or is he going to take a shot at the NFL and try and take the next step here? It doesn't always work out. I mean, listen, everybody references Nick Saban coming up to coach the Dolphins there for whatever it was, like a little bit of time, and it did not pan out for him. I mean, hey, some people are college coaches, some people are NFL coaches, some of them can do both. But there's not a lot, it seems like, that are great at both. So we'll see what Harbaugh does. My other thought, Georgia still would have beat Michigan. A healthy Georgia team would have beat Michigan, I think. It was tough, Georgia being left out of the playoff. It felt kind of wrong, especially now I know lots of opt-outs and FSU wasn't healthy, but when they crushed FSU in that Orange Bowl, it was like, well, Georgia really probably should have been in the playoff game or in a playoff game. That's what I thought, whether it was swapping with Alabama still, or I guess that would have been the only reasonable option pretty much, or over Texas, but still. I think Georgia would have beat Michigan yet, especially if they had their whole squad healthy. Brock Bowers wasn't dealing with his nagging injuries he's had in the last couple of weeks here. But yeah, that's my final takeaway from the national championship. And the Big Ten bookends both ends of the 14 playoff. Yeah, it's the end of the 14 playoff era. Now, listen, my Nittany Lions didn't win any of them. So we got Ohio State winning the first 4-team championship CFP, and then Michigan winning the last one. Now we're moving on to the 12-team era, and yeah, I know it's going to take expanded playoffs for my Phillies to finally make it into the playoffs. Now probably for Penn State to finally make it into the playoffs. So it doesn't look great for Pennsylvania sports fans taking expanded playoffs for their team to make it in, but 12-team playoff, here we come.
Yeah, I'm excited for that, and like I said, from I wanted them to go to 8 first, but I'm looking forward to 12 next year. Now there's gonna be probably some garbage in that first round. Because you're gonna have teams that probably don't deserve to be there, but it's gonna be interesting, and let's see how it works. We all gave the 4 team a chance, and it was very successful, I think. Um, so I'm excited for this 12 team. This is college football is turning into a 2 conference powerhouse. Eventually, all you're gonna have is the Big Ten and the SEC. So you had to make a change eventually. So excited for all these teams to move in their conferences. I hate that we're losing out on tradition, but money over tradition, I guess. That's what I learned this year in college football. So I'm excited for the 12 team. Thank you for all the memories, 14 playoff.
That's right.
Thank you for all the garbage semifinal games.
Well, thank you for the garbage championship game last year, too. TCU. What are we doing? Call back on that just a year ago. But yes, end of the 14 playoff, and that's going to end our college football talk for this week, too. So we're going to jump into the NFL as the wild card rounds are set now. So we're going to run down through these matchups, highlight some of them more than others probably, especially starting with this first matchup here in the NFC. We're going through the NFC and AFC. Packers, Cowboys, Rams, Lions, Eagles, Buccaneers. Then in the AFC side of things, Browns, Texans, Dolphins, Chiefs, and Steelers, Bills. So, like I said, starting off with Melo's Packers. going down to Jerry World to take on the Cowboys. Melo, how we feeling going into this Sunday?
We got nothing to play for. All the pressure in the world is on Dallas this weekend. People are probably wondering how the Packers even got in here in the first place because of Jordan Love and his spectacular performance this season. I'm excited. I think as long as this Packers team can keep it close, we got a shot. I understand that Dallas hasn't lost at home all season, but as we've seen, something changes in the air anytime the Cowboys look at their calendars and it's January. Something changes. So everybody in that stadium is going to be so tight on Saturday or Sunday, I should say. Because if it's a close game against Green Bay or if they're losing, it's not good. Because this is a Dallas team that should be making a run this year. And Dallas fans had to deal with Aaron Rodgers his whole career. And if they're not careful on Sunday, they're going to have to deal with Jordan Love for the rest of his career. And we're just getting started. My heart says Packers. My mind says Dallas. But I'm still going to roll with the Packers. But all the pressure in the world is on Dallas. You can't lose this game on Sunday. I'm sorry. There's no excuses.
Kyle, it sounds like we adopted a new member to the NFC East temporarily. How much Melo's dogging on the Cowboys here?
Yes, I like it. It's nice.
What do you got predictions wise for Sunday?
Oh man, Melo, I hate to do it to you, but I'm taking Dallas. This
It's okay.
team, this team is. I mean, they proved why they belong here. They've been battling the Eagles all year for this NFC East title. Um, just like Melo said, I mean, there's no reason why you shouldn't win this game. That's just how it is, you know. And I mean, I think it's going to be a lot closer than what people think, you know. So, but at the end of the day, I still think Dallas takes it.
I think it's going to be a big offensive game for Dallas, and that's obviously one of the main things driving them is their explosive offense this year. Dak he's turned down the turnovers this year. He kept to his quote early in the offseason. He's trying to cut down the interceptions this year. He was able to so far this season. CeeDee Lamb has really broken out as a top threat this season. He's been a number one guy. I don't want to say there was question marks, but there was a bit of hesitancy if he was more of just a really good slot guy or if he was your full-on number one receiver. Hey, he proved that he can be your full-on number one receiver this year, and I think Dallas is going to pull it out. I hate to say it. I don't ever root for Dallas. I'm rooting for Melo. I want to be wrong here, but I am predicting that Dallas is going to take the win in this one. But yes, lots of pressure on Dallas to win. They have to win this game because if they don't, I mean, Dak's whole career, they've won like 2 playoff games. So if they lose here as the number 2 seed in the NFC this year, I mean, Stephen A. Smith and all the naysayers are going to be having a heyday come Monday when it's time to talk. I'm going to be having a heyday come Monday when it's time to talk about them Cowboys. You better bet I'm going to be yelling, how about them Cowboys if they lose coming in Monday. But we'll see what happens. Next game up here, Rams and Lions.
Oh, boy.
Melo, hey, you got a little relation to this one. You've seen the Lions 2 times this year. Got the best of them 1 time. What do you got on this game?
And the Rams are in my home city, so I'm always hearing it and stuff.
Yes.
This is, you talk about script writing. This is Hollywood script writing at its finest. The Lions haven't been in the playoffs in so long. And of course, the one time they get back, the first year they get back in, they got to go up against the Rams, which it's not just your regular Rams. It's with Matthew Stafford, who was on your side for so many years, and he tried to get to the promised land with you, and couldn't happen. And then he goes to the Rams, wins a Super Bowl in his first year. All the pressure in the world is on Jared Goff. You need to show to the Rams that they made a mistake. Now, whether you play well and win the game, I don't think it matters for the Rams because it's like, well, listen, we got Matthew Stafford. We won a Super Bowl first year. We did our thing. Just all the good things that have come from this Detroit season comes down to this game. If you lose it to Matthew Stafford and these Rams, everything goes down the drain. All the success you had goes down the drain.
It's like you
So,
didn't even make the playoffs. If
right,
you lose this week, it's like, well, it doesn't really. I mean, sure, you made the playoffs, but all for what? Just to lose to the Rams.
exactly. And I just Jared Goff's got to keep his emotions in check, and so does um, Sean McVay, head coach of the Rams. Because I'm sure all week they're going to be asking, oh, it's Jared Goff all over again. How do you feel about it? They're going to get a ton of questions about it, and it's probably going to get annoying. But this Detroit team is really good too, and hopefully they can forget about all that. Jared Goff especially, but I'm gonna go with the Lions here in a close one. But be careful because Rams are good too. Puka Nakua, I love watching them every week. So
Yeah,
Lions got to be careful. Wouldn't be surprised if the Rams won this game either.
Kyle.
Yeah, this is a game that I think can go either way, but at the end of the day, I think this Cinderella story continues for at least another week. I think Jared Goff proves to the Rams why it might have been a mistake. You never know. But yeah, no, I think Detroit takes this. Um, the last couple weeks have been a little shaky, but I think Dan Campbell, I think he's the guy, man. I really do. Um, I think he brings so much energy to this team, so much positivity. I mean, just the way he talks to his guys. I mean, that's what you want. And I think, I mean, first playoff game for the Lions. Come on now, like Dan Campbell's speech is going to be legendary. I can't wait to hear it. And yeah, I think this continues, and I'm taking the Lions.
This is such a hyped up moment in Detroit sports history right here. Lions are back in the playoffs again for the first time in however many years. Ford Field is going to be rocking because, listen, the Lions do have good fans. It helps that they're good right now, but the Lions do have good fans too. It's a good fan base. So Ford Field is going to be rocking. Like Kyle just said, Dan Campbell is going to have the boys all hyped up for that game. Whether it is just hyping them up, period, or bringing the whole, oh, Jared Goff, hey, Sean McVay didn't believe in you. He didn't think you were good enough to win the Super Bowl. He had to go out there and steal our guy to try and win the Super Bowl. He doesn't believe in you to start that fire in Jared Goff. Whatever it is, I think that Detroit is going to be ready. They cannot come out and they can't come out flat in this game. And I don't think they're going to have to worry about it. I think Detroit wins. I'm not going to say handily, but I think by 2 possessions at least. The Rams coming into the season, we weren't sure what to expect from them even. Like, we weren't sure where Matthew Stafford was at injury-wise because he had that weird back neck injury at the end of last season, and we weren't sure where Aaron Donald was because he almost retired. Cooper Kupp was coming off an injury. There's like so many question marks. We didn't know what Puka Nakua was, and now he could win or not NL, geez, Offensive Rookie of the Year. So it's sort of we didn't expect to be here from the Rams, but yeah, I think Detroit's got to win this one, and they're going to come out hyped up and ready to play and win by two scores, I think.
That's the best game of the weekend, by the way. That's the best game of the weekend. With all the storylines coming into it, to me, that's the best game of the weekend. And it showed you when NBC put it on their Sunday night slot.
Either that or Miami, Kansas City, I think, personally. Once again, ESPN gets screwed and gets Eagles Buccaneers
Damn right.
here as we get into the final NFC matchup. My birds limping into the playoffs.
An understatement.
Uh, 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 Choked away the NFC East fully there. You're welcome, Dallas and Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott and Jerry Jones. All you guys, you're welcome for that. We gave you the division. That was our Christmas gift to you. Ridiculous. The offense and the defense, just both of them, do not look the same. It's somebody flipped a switch since we started the season 10-1, and then we've lost 5 of our last 6 games. It's like night and day, literally. You lose to the Cardinals, you lose to the Giants, you lose to the Cowboys, and it's not really close. I mean, it's just Jalen Hurts does not look the same. And people are starting to question whether he's the guy or not. I'm like, I mean, I'm not going that far, but people are starting to get worried about Philly. And the Bucks are an interesting team. It's you don't know what to expect from them a little bit. You could get one or two Baker Mayfield, one or two versions of Baker Mayfield in this game, where there's Baker chucking the ball around for 3 interceptions, or Baker putting up 300 yards and 3 tuds. You're not sure what to expect from Baker Mayfield in this game. Mike Evans is an X factor. Chris Godwin's an X factor. Rashad White, if he's healthy, is an X factor for that Buccaneers team too. I think my Eagles are going to win, but they better not mess around, because if they do, they're going to find themselves going home, getting knocked out in the wild card round by a Buccaneers team that is honestly a joke and should not be in the playoffs even. They're lucky they're in the NFC South. That's my take on it.
You mentioned it at the top, and I'm pretty sure I think I mentioned it to you guys before we did our baseball show. This is the compilation prize for Joe Buck and Troy Aikman for making all that money to work once a week. We'll give you a ton of money. We'll give you a ton of money to do our games. But here's the problem. For the playoffs, the one playoff game that you're gonna get the crappiest division winner in the sport, and you're gonna get the NFC loser. Not winner, loser. And I really want to pick Tampa here, just because I haven't liked what I've seen out of anything that I've seen out of the Eagles in the last month. It wouldn't shock me that if the Eagles just laid an egg and they go home Monday. But I'm gonna play it safe and I'm gonna pick Philadelphia. But I don't feel good about it at all. And I don't know what's gonna happen if this Eagles team doesn't make a deep run. I've heard rumors that Nick Sirianni's job might be on the line here. That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard. That especially if you lose this weekend to Tampa, but all the pressure in the world is on the Eagles, and I think they know that. So we'll see if they can turn that switch on, because we've been hearing that from players and coaches that, okay, we're gonna figure this out. The switch will get turned on. We're still waiting. So we'll see what happens in Tampa Monday. But I'll go with the Eagles.
Yes. I've been waiting to chime in here.
Oh, boy.
Matt, I have one question for you. Hurts so good, doesn't it? Hurts so good. Oh, I had to do it. So, first, I'm not going to go on a rant here, I promise. But your New York Football Giants took care of business, did their thing last week. You love to see it. Come on. There's got to be some enjoyment in this, right? No, okay. Sorry, Matt. I had to give it to you. I could not let you slide there. You had to hear from me at least once. I'm not going to go brutal here, but just hurts a little bit. But anyway, going to this game here. Yeah, this is tough, man, because Philadelphia should win this. No problem. I mean, this Tampa Bay team is literally limping into the playoffs and getting a spot because of how bad this division is. However, They're going to take that and they're going to run with it. I'm taking Tampa Bay.
Oh,
Taking Tampa Bay. I think, and it's not because I hate the Eagles. I mean, partially, but
really sounds like it.
at the
Sounds
same time, though, I think this Eagles team has gotten away with this a little bit too much this season. And they played around. They really did. And they're not looking too great. They're really not. Um, I could be totally wrong, which hypothetically I should be. There's no reason why Philadelphia shouldn't win this game. But I just think with all the things going on with this team, I don't know how it's affecting chemistry. I don't know how it's affecting Jalen Hurts, because I still think Jalen Hurts is a phenomenal quarterback. And if he does his thing, they're going to win. But he hasn't showed me that in the last couple weeks he can do his thing. So for that reason, I'm taking Tampa Bay. They got nothing to lose.
Yeah, you signed Jalen Hurts to that big extension, and he's got to perform now. There's no doubt about it. I mean, we signed you to take us back to the Super Bowl again. The end of the story. Regular season, put it behind us now. It doesn't matter anymore. There was a world in those 4 games where Dallas won the division anyway, despite us handing it to them on a silver platter. It's all right. Moving into the playoffs, we got the easiest opponent in all of the playoffs, I would say. The easiest team in the AFC and NFC is definitely the Buccaneers to play. Take care of business, give you a little confidence moving into whoever you may end up facing in the following the divisional round. That's my hype up speech for the Eagles right there.
Blood's in the water, though. You can smell it.
Yeah.
And hopefully Jalen Hurts has SpongeBob fingers. Hopefully that middle finger is okay.
I hope so.
I saw him flip the camera like 10 times on Sunday.
Well, I'm sure there'll be plenty of birds thrown up if Philly loses by Eagles fans across Philadelphia. There will be plenty of birds tossed up. Also, side note, not to mention the Eagles have to travel to play. They have to go to Tampa Bay. This is a home game for the Buccaneers. Since they won the crappy NFC South, they get to host a home playoff game, barely finishing above 500 for the season. Love that for us too. Just another thing that hurts our chances of winning here, going on the road.
So what happens? You play around with your food. So what happens?
Yes. Little House of Horrors, throwback to 2021. I think 2021 NFL playoffs. We lose in the wild card round. Now that was the Tom Brady Buccaneers, but still lost to the Buccaneers in the wild card then too. All right, we're gonna jump over to the AFC side of things. Of course, 49ers, the team with the bye in the NFC side as the number 1 seed. But on the AFC side of things, probably breeze through this a little bit quicker. We don't have any teams over here, but Cleveland Browns taking on the Houston Texans in the first matchup. Joe Flacco, nice little comeback story for him here. And on the Texan side of things, CJ Stroud, what a great story. Even coming out of Ohio State, my biggest college rival.
Ohio State University.
I'm still going to root for CJ Stroud in this game. And I think this is going to be a good game, too. This is probably top 3 game of the weekend, in my opinion. Browns defense has been stellar all season long. They found their guy in Joe Flacco. They signed him off his couch, and he's out here throwing for 300 yards every week. I saw a funny thing. He's going to pass probably Johnny Manziel on the Browns all-time passing touchdowns list, which is crazy to think of. But, yes, Joe Flacco, who legendary Ravens quarterback, has more touchdown passes than Browns 1-1 pick Johnny Manziel, Mr. Football himself, Johnny Football himself. So I'm rooting for the Texans, and I think they're going to take care of business. CJ Stroud's awesome rookie campaign is just going to keep continuing. And, yeah, give me the Texans in this one.
This Texans team is so fun, and they're a great story. It was a death trap a year ago. Nobody wanted to go there. Nobody wanted to play there. They had like 4 wins. And give credit to the head coach too, D'Amico Ryans. Dude's got those
100%.
boys playing and gets them up every week, and they deserve it. After for a second there, it looked like they were gonna miss the playoffs, but they did just enough to get in and won the division with some help. I really want to pick Cleveland because I want the Browns to do something to make a run here, but too much swagger going on the Houston side, and they're at home. I like the Texans.
Hey, good juju in their national championship just won in that stadium, so keep that rolling for the Texans.
Yeah, first I want to give a shout out to the San Francisco 49ers. They are they're defensive coordinators. I swear, they go on and they are absolute I mean, just spreads positivity. It really does. And I love to see it. D'Amico Ryan seems to be that guy in Houston. And I really hope I'm wrong here because I want to pick the Texans so damn bad. I really do. But I think this Cleveland defense is just too much. And I think that's where they're going to run into problems. However, I am not taking away anything from Houston. I think they are a phenomenal story, and I think they only get better from here. But my head is telling me Cleveland, and that's what I'm going to go with.
All right. Like a little parody there. Next matchup should be a fun one. Exclusively on the Peacock.
Hey!
Miami Dolphins taking
Whoa!
on the Kansas City Chiefs. The Tyreek Hill Bowl.
The illegal stream bowl.
Yeah. Little revenge game for Tyreek Hill, or hey, we don't need you game for Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes.
They need him.
A little bit of a we wish we could say we didn't need you, but we really do game for the Chiefs. Chiefs are in trouble here. Let me tell you what.
So are the Dolphins.
The Dolphins are in trouble, though, too. This is going to be an interesting game. It was always don't bet against Tom Brady. Patrick Mahomes is supposed to be the next best quarterback that we've seen right now. Don't bet against Patrick Mahomes. Don't bet against Andy Reid in the playoffs. Give me the Chiefs in this game.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch this game, but this is not to me compelling like everyone thinks it is. This is not this is not the most dominant Chiefs team that we've ever seen. And Miami just can't beat a team over 500. It's like it's two, that meme, the two girls having a mid off. I think this is one of them. I'm sorry, I hate to be like that, but it is. Chiefs are at home. That crowd makes a big difference. I think Chiefs are gonna win. There hasn't been much that I've seen out of Miami that convinced me. If they would have maybe won Sunday at home against Buffalo, maybe I have a different tone right now. But I've completely lost all faith in this Dolphins team. So give me the Chiefs at home, but to me, it's not the great game that everybody, I think, makes it out to seem. I could be wrong. Still going to watch it, though, obviously. Give me the Chiefs at home.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you guys here. I'm taking KC, but it's not confident. I'm not being confident in that pick at all. By the way this looks, this dynasty that we're seeing is kind of fizzling out. That's just kind of the way it looks. Now, I could be wrong next year depending on their offseason moves. I don't know. But I want to say Miami. I really do. But like Melo said, they haven't convinced me enough to be able to strongly say that. But I do think Tyreek Hill has a big game. I will say that. I think he's going to buy into this whole revenge game playing in Arrowhead. I think I don't know, man. I think he's going to have a big game. But no, I'm taking KC. You can't bet against Patrick Mahomes. At least not against Miami. You can't.
You said about the dynasty fizzling out. Honestly, all it could take is Kansas City losing this game. Andy Reid, there's rumors that he could be retiring.
Yeah.
Andy Reid calls it quits after a loss to the Dolphins here. And I'm not going to say poof, there goes your dynasty, but listen,
It's a huge chunk.
Yes, because we've seen some of the offensive coordinators from KC. They're not good head coaches. Matt Nagy is not a good head coach. I know that I can't remember the guys over in Washington now. Eric Bieniemy. People don't really like him as a coach. It seems like he's not a head coach, but people don't like him as a coach. I think Andy Reid is a huge part of that dynasty going on right there in KC. So if he was able to say, "Hey, I'm going to retire. I'm going to step away after this season," yeah, you could very well see that this dynasty is collapsing right there for him. Final game though in the AFC, Pittsburgh Steelers travel up to Buffalo to play the Buffalo Bills in what could be quite the interesting game in terms of, listen, there's a couple ways I could see this going. One, Pittsburgh can't score because their offense sucks. They have Mason Rudolph as their quarterback. On the flip side of things, Josh Allen is such a gambler. He throws 3 interceptions in this game to the Steelers. Not that bad defense. The other way I could see this going, like I just said, Steelers bad offense without TJ Watt, which kind of sucks, but because he's such an animal to watch. Without TJ Watt, I believe I'm 99% sure he was ruled out. I think so. But if it would be without TJ Watt, and the Bills absolutely cook them. They show what they've been able to do. We've seen flickers of the Bills being great this season. We haven't seen the full bright bulb, but I think there's a chance that we could see that this game, and the Bills kind of just hand it to the Steelers and like, hey, you never really belonged to be in this game anyway. I'm going to take Buffalo, though.
This game should have been on Peacock. Mike Tomlin's a damn good coach. I'm not taking anything away from him. The fact that this dude has not had a losing season, I think, ever since he's been there is remarkable. And then you get in the playoffs, and it's just a different story. It was the same thing like 2 years ago. They stumbled in here, and they got murdered by the Chiefs the next week. I don't see this being close. I think Buffalo's going to manhandle them pretty easily. No TJ Watt. That's a huge miss that they're not going to have Sunday or Saturday, whenever the game is. I think Buffalo's at home. Buffalo wins it at home.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you guys. I'm taking Buffalo in this. But I do want to give props, just like Melo said. Mike Tomlin, I mean, come on. He is – I don't understand how he does it, because some of these teams that he's fielding each and every year, it's very questionable. It really is. I don't get it, but you know what? Props are gonna have to go his way. But no, I'm with Melo on this too. I don't think it's gonna be close. I think Josh Allen is gonna perform how we know that Josh Allen can perform. I think Stephon Diggs has a big game too, and I think this offense just takes over, especially without T.J. Watt. I mean, that's huge there. So I'm taking Buffalo.
All right, there we go. Shout out to the Ravens having the number 1 seed, and I would like to say having the MVP, Lamar Jackson. If I had a vote, I would cast mine for Lamar Jackson, become a 2-time MVP winner in the National Football League. We're not going to have time to deep dive into the coaches who were left go, but just a quick recap, I think. Arthur Smith of the Falcons. Of course, Mike Vrabel, surprisingly, let go today from the Titans. Yeah, strange one there. I'm trying to think who else was let go. Ron Rivera for the Commanders. Tough for that guy. Honestly, I like him as a guy, but just tough. He hasn't panned out since they lost that Super Bowl in Carolina there. There's got to be more than those 3. I feel like I'm missing. I mean, some were fired earlier. Brandon Staley,
yeah,
of course, and the Raiders head coach Josh McDaniels was let go earlier. So there's plenty of openings across the NFL. Some people are going to get rehired. Vrabel, I would expect to have a job somewhere else if he would like one, as I would expect a head coach right away. No doubt in my mind. But
I can see Washington. It makes too much sense.
Washington. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there was any other spots that opened up. Belichick's still a question mark.
Yeah.
We don't know what to expect there.
Rip the Band-Aid off. It's time to move on.
Oh,
Rip the Band-Aid
okay.
off. It's over. It's better for everybody. It's better for the Patriots, and it's better for Belichick. Move on.
Yeah, this is in the last couple years without Brady have been a tarnish on his legacy. That's for sure. So it's just sort of if you're gonna keep coaching, I mean, you got to turn it around because this is turning bad. This is like MJ on the Wizards territory right here. Like this is just a stain on your legacy. But
I will say though, Don Wink Martindale was resigned as Giants defensive coordinator. Bill
yes.
Belichick, if you want to come back to where it all started, you bring it up, and we will welcome you with open arms. Had to put my 2 cents in there.
I mean, who doesn't want to play for their dad? The Giants are Bill Belichick's dad. I mean, isn't that right? It's
Damn it, Matt!
shut him
I
down.
love it. Damn it, I love it.
Yeah. But yes, it's gonna be everything for episode 19 here. 19, I believe. So thank you guys for watching, listening, checking out all our stuff. Appreciate it. We're gonna continue to grow and be back with some more content next week and after the wild card round. We'll see you later.
Later.
Go Pack, go.